All right, let's just jump right into this. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're tackling a claim that's, well, genuinely controversial. It pretty much goes against every intense motivational speech you've ever heard, but it just might fundamentally change how you view self-control. Today, we're unpacking the idea that discipline is actually easy. Sounds a little crazy, I know, but our source material breaks this down in a surprisingly practical way.
Now, if your first instinct is to roll your eyes at that, hey, I completely get it. Let's validate that frustration right out of the gate. You've probably tried waking up at the crack of dawn or hitting the gym every single day, only to feel totally defeated when the habit just didn't stick. It makes you feel like discipline is reserved for some special class of people, right? Like you just missed out on the willpower gene. But here's the kicker. Our sources argue that the grueling, painful version of discipline we've all been sold is actually a trap. It makes us terrified of a process that, believe it or not, should feel completely natural.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover 1, the great discipline myth, 2, the 2 discipline buckets, 3, the 4 domino habits, and 4, rebuilding your reality. Okay, part 1, the great discipline myth, and why you feel like you're constantly failing. So there's this massive disconnect between elite expectations and our actual daily reality. We're constantly bombarded with these wild stories, right? David Goggins running 20 miles at 3 a.m., Elon Musk grinding out 100-hour weeks, Virat Kohli doing 2 hours of brutal strength training every day. We look at them and think, wow, okay, that is what discipline looks like. But then there's your life. You have entirely different priorities. And our sources make a really fantastic point here. These elite performers aren't crazy, but their specific professions demand those extremes. If Kohli doesn't train, he loses out on trophies. If Musk sleeps in, his global companies might stall. But you absolutely do not need to wake up at 3 a.m. to be a disciplined person. Social media has totally tricked us into comparing our everyday lives to the top 0.1%, making us feel inadequate when, in reality, we're just running a completely different race.
I mean, think about it. How can you climb Mount Everest if you haven't even tackled a small hill? We keep looking at those elite routines as our starting line. But discipline isn't some magical personality trait you're born with. It's just a muscle. And like any muscle, you have to slowly build it up from the ground. David Goggins didn't start his fitness journey by casually knocking out a 3 a.m. marathon. He started from zero, just like you. Trying to instantly copy a billionaire's routine when you haven't even nailed down basic daily habits, that's literally like trying to summit Everest in flip-flops. It is a guaranteed recipe for burnout.
Moving on to part 2, the 2 discipline buckets and how to restructure your mental model. The real secret sauce here is understanding that discipline falls into 2 very different mental buckets. First up, we've got the timely reminders bucket. These are the simple things. You don't need intense, raw motivation for them. You really just need a nudge to remember to do them. Think about chugging a glass of water, jotting down 1 quick sentence in a journal, or doing 10 easy push-ups. If your phone dings, you just do it. No big internal battle. But then you have the willpower bucket. Oh boy, this is where the heavy resistance lives. It's 4 p.m., you promised yourself you'd hit the gym, but suddenly the couch is looking incredibly comfortable. Tackling this bucket requires a conscious, forceful mental push against your own natural laziness. And our sources emphasize that if you want to build that discipline muscle from scratch, you have to intentionally train both of these buckets every single day. Which brings us to part 3, the 4 domino habits, small actions for massive momentum. All right, here is a quick look at 4 super simple habits that act as the ultimate foundation for building that discipline muscle. We've got meditation, waking up at the exact same time, never skipping workouts, and quitting sugar. Now, notice how none of these require running 20 miles, but conquering them will completely transform your baseline level of self-control. So let's break these down one by one. Starting with habit number 1, meditation. Now, hold on, before you brush this off as just not your thing, let's look at the science. The source material points out that meditation isn't just about finding spiritual enlightenment. It is quite literally a neurological workout. Studies show it improves emotional regulation, laser focuses your attention, and get this, it physically increases the gray matter in the areas of your brain specifically linked to self-control. It basically trains you to observe a really uncomfortable thought, like, man, I just want to quit right now, and then simply not act on it, which, if you think about it, is the exact definition of discipline. So how do we actually do this without failing? The sources lay out a brilliant, actionable strategy called the 3-alarm method, and this perfectly targets that timely reminders bucket we just talked about. You just set 3 alarms on your phone, morning, afternoon, and evening. When that alarm goes off, you drop whatever you're doing and meditate for just 5 short minutes. Now, obviously, pull the car over if you're driving, but you get the idea. The genius of this method is the realistic expectation. The source notes that at first, yeah, you'll probably hit all 3. But over time, you might start skipping 1 or even 2, and that is okay. The
The goal is just to sustain at least one session a day. By tying it to an alarm, you're creating this foolproof habit that you basically cannot mess up. Okay, moving on to the second habit, which is all about beefing up that willpower bucket, waking up at the same time every day. And honestly, there is no better way to frame this than with this killer quote from Jocko Willink: "The snooze alarm is the dream killer." Think about it. When that alarm blares, your immediate primal instinct is to smash that snooze button. But giving in, that literally destroys your discipline within the first 10 seconds of being awake. Research actually shows that how you start your morning deeply dictates the decisions you'll make for the rest of the day. When you force yourself to get out of bed immediately, no snoozing allowed, you are handing yourself this tiny instantaneous victory. You're actively rewiring your brain right out of the gate to prioritize your long-term goals over immediate fleeting comfort. It's an immediate workout for your willpower bucket, and you haven't even brushed your teeth yet. Which brings us right to habit 3. Never skip your daily workout. Sounds incredibly simple, right? But the impact here is massive. Regular physical exercise is just as critical for your mental discipline, stress management, and overall self-control as it is for your physical health. Every single time you push through and finish a workout, you are proving to yourself that you can do hard things. And that proof, it bleeds into every other area of your life. It gives you the gritty determination to stay committed to your work, your studies, and your personal growth. But hey, remember our golden rule: we are not climbing Mount Everest today. Our sources go out of their way to reassure you that you don't need a ridiculous, expensive gym membership or some exhausting 2-hour powerlifting routine. You can start training your willpower right now, today, just by committing to a fixed time and doing 10 simple push-ups at home. The sheer physical exertion isn't even the main point here. It's the psychological repetition of showing up for yourself. That is what actually builds the discipline muscle. And finally, we hit habit 4, quitting sugar. Now, dropping sugar might sound like just a diet thing, but it is fundamentally a cognitive strategy. High sugar intake leads to those massive mid-afternoon energy crashes and seriously impairs your cognitive function. And let's be real, when your brain is foggy and your energy is totally tanked, your willpower is basically zero. Being disciplined feels impossible. Contrast that with cutting sugar out completely. You eliminate those crashes, which unlocks the steady, natural energy, incredible mental clarity, and exceptionally strong willpower. Basically, quitting sugar removes the physical barriers that are secretly sabotaging your mental discipline behind the scenes. All right, part 4, rebuilding your reality and taking that crucial first step today. We really need to internalize one totally critical fact here. Every highly successful person out there, every billionaire, every elite athlete, basically everyone you've been unfairly comparing yourself to, they all started at exact zero. Underneath all the medals and the billions, their brains are wired exactly like yours. The only difference is they chose to consistently train their discipline muscle over years and years. They didn't just wake up one random Tuesday and sprint up the mountain. They took one single step on a flat path, and then they took another. So, I want to wrap up this explainer with a bit of a challenge for you. Stop staring at Mount Everest. Just stop. Beat yourself up for not being some superhuman on day one. Instead, ask yourself, what is the one small hill you are going to choose to climb today? Are you going to set an alarm for a 5-minute meditation? Are you going to commit to not hitting snooze tomorrow morning? Or are you going to drop and do 10 push-ups right now? The choice is entirely yours, and the power is literally in your hands. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.